Hello guys, and welcome to another match of the CHELSEADRA. The CHELSEADRA Pokemon Club faced off against the Philadelphia Aegislash this past week with the coach, no pun intended. So I really prepped for this week. I really want to get my first win here. I led with my lead Excelgor against his Rotom, and I figured Rotom would immediately want to Volt Switch to gain momentum. I figured if he led with it, it was probably Choice Scarf, so it would be locked into Volt Switch. I made that wrong call, but I do dodge an overheat here, which is pretty good with my Nidoking. I only take 25% rather than a lot more, probably over 50%. And I also know I'm faster, so I figured I could just try to set up another sub here, or I could just go ahead and be super offensive. So I go for a Sludge Wave here. It's Nidoking's most powerful attack, it's Stab, and it does over 50% to this Calade. Now, I don't know if it's Choice Scarf or not, and I have made some bad calls based on wrong assumptions before, so I decided to play it safe. I decided to go out into my Metagross, and to my surprise, the Calade actually goes for a Trick Room, very interestingly, so I definitely did not expect that. I know a knockoff is coming soon, but I know that Metagross can take it, it's quite defensive, and so I figured I should set up my Stealth Rock. I also thought that maybe he would think that my Metagross would be slower than him, so maybe he would switch out. I'm not too afraid of knockoff here. I'm willing to trade my Metagross's HP for a KO here. I was thinking about whether or not this Calade could potentially switch, so I went for the inaccurate Meteor Mash rather, but I end up getting a KO here. So we start the battle right, we got our Stealth Rocks, we do have the bird, which Swallow, which if he brought it in under Trick Room, he's definitely going for a quick attack here. So I decided to switch into my Suicune. I do have Sleep Talk this week, so I'm hoping that's gonna make a big difference. And the bird gets burned. I figure I could try to Calm Mind here to set up, but it's probably not worth it. I think I'd rather just go for a Scald here, right? I should just go for a Scald and try to burn something. The Shaman comes in. I do not get the burn. Oh no, I do get the burn rather. I do get the burn, but I know a Seed Flare is coming, and there's still Trick Room, so I would be going first, but there's no point, because if Seed Flare hits, it does decrease my special defense by 2. So I'm not even gonna play around with this. I'm hoping Shaman is not a setup Shaman, like a substitute or anything. So I decided to sacrifice my Metagross. It already took a KO, it set up Stealth Rock, so it did its job, and I feel like we are in an okay situation here. Now, I believe Trick Room has ended by now, right? So I bring in my Excelgor. I do threaten with the Final Gambits. I also know I can set up Spikes. I also have U-Turn and Knockoff. So I do go ahead and set up the Spikes, one layer, and this is his Uber, the Giratina Origin form. Now I'm not too sure what it wants to do. I do go for a knockoff here, and then I see a Calm Mind. So immediately a lot of alarms go off in my head, and I'm thinking, okay, so this guy wants to set up on me. I need to match his Calm Mind. So I decide to U-turn and bring in my Suicune to set up, and this is where the battle is gonna get really weird, honestly. We're both Calm Mind sets. I didn't know whether he had Rest and Sleep Talk and what move he had. I assumed either a Dragon type move or a Ghost type move, of course, and he leads off with Shadow Ball, which deals so much damage. It dealt 130 out of my 207 HP. However, with my boosting special defense plus the leftovers, I'm hoping that unless my opponent gets a super high roll, I should be able to survive the next Shadow Ball and get to Rest into a much healthier spot. So that's exactly what happens. I live on 7 HP, and then my Suicune rests, which is pretty good. I also had knockoff on my Blaziken, but on my Mega Blaziken and Sword Stance, but I wasn't too sure of what was gonna happen there. So my opponent decides to go for a Calm Mind rather than try to attack me. I do know that I need to Sleep Talk Calm Mind this turn, most likely, in order to survive. Otherwise, it's gonna get really tough, and I do get a Scald rather than a Calm Mind. So this is gonna get very tricky. I do not get the burn, so that Scald was just not great. I feel like if my opponent goes for Shadow Ball there, he definitely two-shots me, right? Because he's at +2 and I was at +1. So if he went for a Shadow Ball and I didn't get a Calm Mind, he would have eliminated my Suicune. But thankfully my Suicune now decides to Calm Mind. So I do get to match his Calm Mind, and then I will be able to wake up and Calm Mind again. So I believe he's at +4/+4, I'm at +2/+2, I think. And then he decides to rest. So at this point I know that we're actually doing this. We are going into this super strange situation, and I'm gonna speed up the battle, because literally what happened here is both of us went for maximum Calm Mind usage, and then we rest, Sleep Talked here and there. The thing is, we both have max PP on our moves, right? But my Suicune's ability is Pressure, which means that he has half the PP that I do. So in the end, in a stalled battle, I will win out, right? So the only possibility for my opponent here is to get a critical hit Shadow Ball after we are both at +6/+6, or get enough special defense drops off of Shadow Ball whilst I Sleep Talk the wrong moves in order to deal with my Suicune. And that's probably not going to happen. I do get a burn, which means he will end up using Rest eventually. I also know that, like, if at some point I just don't attack him, I don't Scald, he won't be able to rest, and therefore he won't be able to like lose turns doing that. So there's one special defense drop which makes things a bit scarier for me, just a tiny bit scarier. There's the Shadow Balls, and I actually don't have the Shadow Ball count active right now, but I was aware that he had probably used at least 6 out of his 12 Shadow Balls or something. So at this point I know that we've gotten to the point where if he gets a critical hit, I don't have anything that will be able to deal with the Giratina. But if he doesn't get a critical hit, then my Suicune, he will not have anything to deal with the Suicune. Perhaps a Shaman, right? Perhaps Shaman. A critical hit Seed Flare would also KO, but thankfully that was not going to. That was not too likely, right? It was more likely for him to get 1 critical hit off of 12 Shadow Balls. He did use 2 in the beginning, so that's really good. He only had 10 left. Towards the end, there's the Shadow Ball. He kept getting special defense drops back to back though, so I needed to keep using Calm Mind. But the leftovers were the clutch part. That extra 6% recovery was making a big difference, and I needed him to not get a special defense drop there, which he doesn't. He definitely got above average special defense drops, but I'm not even sure, like, what are the chances of an attack not getting a critical hit off of 12 attacks? I am honestly not sure. Yeah, I am honestly not sure. But yeah. The rest on Sleep Talk shenanigans just continue. At this point, I know that I don't need to. I'm not going to win by using Scald. I am going to win by stalling him out of his Shadow Ball PP. And if I'm not mistaken, that might be the last one. Because yeah, like I Sleep Talk Scald there, look at my HP. I would definitely not be able to live another Shadow Ball. However, he goes for the rest. So if he had that last Shadow Ball there, he would have knocked out my Suicune at that range, and that would have been game, right? That would have been game. However, he was out, right? At that point I knew he was very close to being out, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So yeah, at this point we're talking on Discord and discussing like what's going to happen. He knows I have pressure. We both know he's out of Shadow Balls. I do have Skulls. It is going to take me a while to get a knockout on him, but as long as I don't, like, my plan was to just go Calm Mind, Calm Mind, Calm Mind until I ran out of PP, and then rest until I ran out of PP. He would run out of PP first, and therefore, when he was out of rest, PP, I would be able to constantly Scald him to snag a burn, eventually maybe a crit, and then he ends up running because he knows that that's going to take a while. The likelihood of that happening, like, we were probably going to run out of time before that, but my Pokemon were healthier, right? My Pokemon were healthier than his at that point, I believe, and so it was a losing battle, and he didn't want to chance the Seed Flare critical hit. Maybe a Seed Flare critical hit from Shaman, maybe he's not offensive, so maybe even a critical hit with that would not have been enough. I was also scared of the Clefable. I figured the Clefable would have that ability that doesn't consider or doesn't take boosts into account, which would have made sense, but I guess he had Magic Guard on Clefable in order to prevent things like Toxic from beating it, or maybe it was just a support Clefable. I have no idea which one of those was, but no pun intended, decided to not play it out, and so Suicune took the win for us 5-0. So we come back from our loss last week, where we played really bad, honestly. Prepped better this week, got the win, and so now we are 2-1 in the ICBA. So I'm really excited. The CHELSEADRA's back on the strike here, and I'm looking forward to battling our next opponent, Johnny B. Good, which coincidentally we will be battling him in both the MPL and the ICBA in the same week. So my video was delayed because I was at Pokemon Regionals, I was at Memphis, I got top 32 there, pretty cool. If you don't know, I play the trading card game professionally, so that's why I wasn't able to upload this in the morning, but it's up now. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you guys next Monday with another ICBA battle. Thank you guys, and until next time. Bye.